for, for starting of the meeting. So I'll start quickly. So already I think we are delayed by 5 6 minutes. So you can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. So if someone can explain how we are going to like move on, like if you guys have any questions you would like to ask immediately, or we can have at the end of the session. How do you like the session to move on?
Sir, if you wish, they will also unmute themselves at the instant when they come across any doubt.
Okay, right.
Okay.
So let's see how it goes.
Okay. So, dear students, if you have any doubts, you can kindly unmute, or if you raise your doubt in the chat box, I will also interrupt the session and I will say the query to the honorable guest of today.
Okay, guys. So today's topic is in fact. So I request everyone to go on mute. I hope everyone is on mute. So the topic for today is in fact role of tires in sustainable development, a paradigm shift in business model and vital skills. So in fact, I will try to ask some questions in between so that we will make it interactive. So what I propose, at least few of you, if you can unmute and talk, it would be better, so that we can try to make something similar to a classroom or a meeting room session. So we'll start with a thought. So I like this, in fact, very much, this particular saying. So it is not the strongest or the most intelligent who survives, but those who can best manage the changes, they survive, in fact. So it was said by Charles Darwin. And yes, it is very much true in current day scenario. And we will see why and how to adapt these things in our life. Okay. So contents of the presentation is why this topic. So we will see what could be your. In fact, I would like to hear from you, at least few of you, your expectation from this training, because I think that is very important. And second topic would be Michelin. So I'll talk about my company for 2-3 slides. Then an overview of tire. Maybe some of you might know what is a tire. Maybe others you would not. Even I, before joining Michelin, I never knew what a tire is. For me, according to me, tire was something black and round. That's it. Okay. But there are lots and lots of things beyond that. So we will have a short overview of what is tire. And we'll also look into role of tires in sustainable development. That's what the key topic today. Plus paradigm shift in business models and paradigm shift in skills required. So why this topic and expectations, okay? So why this presentation today? Obviously, Madam Kavita called me. She asked me to present and I agreed. So that's why I'm presenting today. It's as simple as that. But why didn't I say no? I could have said no, right? Because in fact, as I said to Madam Kavita, even when we go to work, go to plant or go for work outside, we used to have lot of time to spend with family and others. Whereas now it is so-called work from home, but it is very difficult to manage because people think that we are sitting idle at home and they have all sorts of meetings from morning 8 o'clock to evening 7, 8 o'clock. But still, why didn't I say no? The reason is you all students, in fact, more than 100 or 200 students, you guys are the main reason why I cannot say no, because you guys are future, and moreover, you guys have commitment to achieve. You guys have energy. You guys have everything. In fact, age, energy, and passion. And I felt that, in fact, when I used to study in college, I felt that I did not have that much exposure as you guys maybe today you're going to have and you had for past 2 days. I always felt bad because most of the people look into all technical aspects, looking into formulas, looking into all theories in the books, but seldom people think about the character, the behavior, the personality, and the skills. So what I thought is I should not say no, so I should address you guys. I've already addressed um, some of students from other colleges as well. So generally, when I was a student, I used to blame others that, for example, professor is not giving me exposure, he or she is not teaching properly, the college is not supporting us, etc., etc. But later I realized that we should take the first step forward, and it is we who decide our career. So it is not your teacher, it is not even your parents, it is no one else. It is you, your own self. So initiative is key. So if you have that initiative, if you have that energy, if you have that passion to learn, you will learn somehow. Okay. So so I want you to understand from this presentation how you can transform your own life and lives of others as well. Okay. So your life is your making. So that's the crux. And the next one, why this topic? So if someone can say, how did you feel looking at this topic compared to other topics? Can someone unmute and tell me? Was this topic normal? How did you feel looking at the topic? Did you feel that what the topic is this? It is no way relevant to me?
Yes, students. One of you can unmute yourself and can answer for this question. Is this relevant to the topic what we have given, electric vehicle trends? This is okay? Is this relevant? Whatever is your opinion, you can.
Yeah. What did you feel first time looking at the topic in the invitation? I know it's a bit difficult because 150, 200 people are there, but at least one or two can unmute and talk. And let's make it interactive, guys. That is important because the most important here is it's not the PPT, guys. It's not the stuff in the PPT. It is me and it is you. It is we as people are more important. We have lots and lots than whatever presentation I'm going to do right now. So I want you guys to be more interactive.
Itti wasn't saying that it was different from other topics we were informed. It was like material science related stuff.
Okay. Guys, you can unmute and talk as well. No? Don't ask Madam Kavita to be a mouthpiece.
Yes, Itti wasn't yourself, you can say.
Yeah.
So far, in all the previous webinars, they were used to this. That is why they are studying now.
Okay.
Students, you can feel free to now interact. It's your turn. Yes, any other thoughts? Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Yeah, this is something very new to me.
Okay.
Completely different from what we are familiar with. So I'm very eagerly waiting for the session, just like a student.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that. But guys, see, don't think that I'm an old guy, man. I'm also like 30, 31 years old. Huh? So I'm like your friend, your brother. So please open up. Because see, when I was student, I had these difficulties as well. I never opened up. But at least during my end of engineering, I opened up and I tried to transform myself. And now I've got more than 10 years experience working in different countries, working in France and Germany and India. And after that, I got all these, all the character I have today. So guys, please open up and don't ever feel that whether your English is good, English is bad, whether your communication is good, whether your voice modulation is good, nothing. Your accent is good, nothing. Please open up. And I want to hear you guys, huh? Because hearing to you, I can understand your character as well. And I can give you some suggestions as well to improve your skills. At least one, I would be happy. Okay, if no one, then we'll move on. So why this topic? Yes, in fact, okay, the first part, obviously you guys know, tires. I work in tire industry, so I'm talking about tires. That is fantastic. But the second topic, paradigm shift in business model and the skills. So why am I talking about business today? See, anyone who enters into a company, into an organization must understand the business. So even, for example, someone enters as operator, he should understand the business. Someone who understands the business, I'm pretty sure he or she will get selected in the interview. And it's not only that. There are lots and lots of entrepreneurs who are coming up. I'm sure that in 150, 200 people today, at least 15 to 20% of people will be entrepreneurs tomorrow. So you guys should understand what is business. Is it only money? Is it only serving people? What is it all about? And how the current business model is evolving. And I think it's very important because in future, maybe the number of jobs can go down and only entrepreneurs can survive, and more entrepreneurs, then they can give job to others. So I think That's what even our Prime Minister is saying today. Okay, so entrepreneurs is key for India's growth and world's growth as well. So for entrepreneurs, you should understand what business is. Just going through the book, even going through the book will not help you to understand unless otherwise you go and work and understand. So since I've been working for more than 10-11 years, I'm trying to explain it so that you can understand, and it will be easy for you. If you want to join a company, it will be helpful, and if you want to start your own business, it will be very helpful, guys. So that's the reason I want to put this, and I have put this. And skills, as I said, for example, in olden days, or not olden days, even like 15-20 years back, generally some people call someone intelligent, knowledgeable, who has got good memory power. Okay, if you can by heart a speech which is of length of 30-40 minutes and just reproduce it, you will be intellectual. Your intellectual horsepower is good, so people will appreciate you. But today it is not the case. Today things are changing. Obviously memory power is important, I do agree, but our phone, our laptops have more memory than our own cell phone. So it is not really the memory which matters a lot. Yes, it does matter, but not that much. Whereas what matters is, there are a few things we will discuss. So that's the main reason I have put paradigm shift in skills as well. Okay, so that's the reason. Technical I will spend more 20 to 30%, because guys, technical you will get all the steps in Google, but what you will not get is Kasi Raman, and what I will not get is you guys, your HOD man, Kavita madam, and all you students. So that's what is important. You should learn people, and obviously you can learn all technical stuff. It is not a big deal at all. Okay, a plus b whole square, if you don't remember, just put it in Google, it will tell you, or take a book and refer, it will tell you. But what is important to there are few things to memorize. Yes, you should memorize few things which is related to your job. For example, you design a tire, that you will have some 50 formulas that you can by heart. That is enough. No need for you to by heart some 500 600 formulas, which is of no use to you, right? So memory power is something required, but it is not the ultimate. There are a lot more ultimate things than that. So we will discuss that. And what commitment I need from you. And one more thing. And guys, why you and me are important is all inventions. For example, right now I'm using Apple MacBook. So who invented it? It's a human being. A phone, who invented it? It's human being. It's we, right? So let's not too much get fascinated about the technology and what has been done, but let's get fascinated about our own selves and our capacity, and let's innovate. Let's create a new laptop like MacBook. Let's create and let's invent a new mobile, which is next generation mobile. So let's work towards that. And what commitment I need from you is, I want the session to be interactive, and I need all you guys to concentrate. You know what is concentration? Concentration is, I can give you one example. If someone says that, comes to you, let's say a terrorist comes to you, and he keeps a knife in your gorge, and he says that I will give you a chance. If you don't close your eyes for 30 seconds, then I will not kill you. Okay, this is the scenario. What will you do? Let's say one minute. Okay, will you not be 200% concentrating to ensure you do not close your eyes, because it is your life, right? So I want that sort of concentration, not only since it is my session. You should have that sort of concentration in all the things that you do, even small thing that you do, let it be cleaning your home, you concentrate. You should be 100% committed and concentrated. So that's what I need, and engagement and interactive. Guys, till now it has not been interactive apart from your HOD. So I kindly request you guys to interact and just leave aside all your formulas. What is rolling resistance? Obviously, you can ask, I will tell you, but you can ask later as well. You can get it in Google as well. But what I expect from you guys is, try to learn from the experience I have got. Try to understand how things work. So try to ask questions like that and try to make it interactive, please, guys, right? And okay, yeah. And next one is, okay, I've made some 20 slides. You can just imagine 20 slides for 2 hours. Right? It's bizarre, but why I've made only 20 slides is to make the session more interactive, because I don't like talking and putting lots of words in the presentation, and At the end, you have some 5 or 10 minutes for Q&A, and we say there is no time and leave. And once again, Q&A, guys, ask from your heart, which means ask things which will be helpful for your life. And yes, for your survival, all these formulas, yes, you can ask, I will reply, but ask something which will be helpful for your life, okay? And obviously, when someone gives you a book, let's say there are two people, one is Madam Kavita and one is me. We come to you, Madam Kavita gives you a book which consists of 400, 450 pages. And I say that I will give you the essence of the book in 2 pages. Which will you prefer? Reading the entire book or the essence? I hope it will be essence. If you say it is the entire book, then that's good. Someone has unmuted. You want to say something? Hello?
ஒரு கேஸ் வந்து டிபார்ட்மெண்ட் இன்னொன்று வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னாக்க அந்த இடம்
Hello.
ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் போகாமல் இருக்கலாம்.
Okay.
சரி ஒரு விஷயம்
Identify who's there and please ask him to you, please. Okay. All right. So why only 20 slides? I've explained. Good. Then what is unique in this presentation? As I said earlier, the uniqueness in this presentation is you and me, nothing else. Okay. And what do you give more importance? Even this I have already spoken. Is it formula, bookish knowledge, or experience? I give more importance for experience, and that's why I am where I am today. Okay. So guys, please give preference to experience. That's the reason, in fact, all these biographies, right? It gives you lots and lots of knowledge for your life. So that is more important than anything else. And why open-ended questions? Anyone knows what is open-ended question? Guys, at least 1 or 2. Yes. I'm surprised whether we really have 184 participants. Huh? Someone has joined the call, and I saw a video. In fact, someone has joined a call, recorded his video, and just put it in front of the laptop camera, and he left. So it's not like that, I hope. Yes, yeah.
Yes, sir. The open-ended questions are those questions which cannot be answered with yes or no or one word. It's like it needs an explanation. This is what I guess this open-ended question.
That's fantastic. That's correct. So I'm very happy, at least one has turned up. So everyone understood what is open-ended questions? You ask questions in such a way that you don't get one word reply. So, for example, sir, I want to go to my home right now. You ask your professor. Okay. So he will say okay or no. So there is not open-ended question. So if you ask, for example, what do you think about me leaving to my home? So what do you think? Things like this, in fact, will make the opponent to answer more than one word or one phrase, which will help to build up the conversation. Okay. So I would prefer you ask open-ended questions and we make it more interactive. Okay. So the crux of the slide is don't get carried away by the creations, which are all the gadgets that we use and everything that we see in this world, but bring out the creator in you. That is very important. Okay. All right. So let's plunge into the topic. So we will see about the company a bit. And obviously, I have not spent more time as well. So in fact, yeah, as I said, I've been working in this company for almost 10 years. And as someone explained, I am not customer engineer support for 8 years. I started as operator. Guys, I joined Michelin in France. I was working as operator. So I was making the green tires. I was working with the metallic tissues. I made my hands dirty for more than 1 year and 8 months, close to 2 years. I worked in earth mover tire plant. I worked in passenger car tire plant. I worked in the truck and bus tire plant. Okay. So I made my hands dirty for more than 2 years. Then I worked as quality technician for 1.5 years. Then I worked as tire designer. I think you can see all these things in my LinkedIn as well. So I worked as tire designer for 2-3 years. So I've designed tires for Volvo, Mercedes, Audi, BMW. Then I was heading the design, in fact, in France. Then I came here to Chennai. We have a plant in Chennai. So I started working as head of product development I worked for 4 years. Then right now I have joined customer engineering support. So our department is in Delhi. So before I was in Chennai, now based in Hyderabad, but our office is in Delhi. So I'm looking after 3 states: Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana. Okay. So why I'm saying this, I've started from scratch, guys. So that is important as well. Someone who wants to become entrepreneur. Obviously, this slide has nothing to do with that, but still, I'm telling you, just to connect. Someone who wants to become entrepreneur, start from scratch, get the experience, and then plunge into it. I think we have a slide on that. We'll look into that. So about Michelin, Michelin is not just a tire company. It is a sustainable mobility company. Okay. So can someone say what is sustainable, please? What is sustainable according to you? You guys are working on electric vehicles, etc., etc. So you guys should know. How to look into the messages? Okay, it's here.
Sir,
Yes.
use of natural resource and not destroying it
Can you repeat? Use of natural resource
without destroying it and giving for future generation.
but you cannot use anything without destroying, right?
Yes, yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Can I?
Yeah.
Naveen, it is audible.
Yes, ma'am. Like, is sir like using something in the present and saving it for future?
Okay, using something today, but if you use something, how do you preserve for future?
Like, not using the full, like using some 50% or 60% and saving the 40%, something like that.
Okay, and tomorrow you use 20%, even the 20% will go up, right? What will you do?
Like, we should keep that quota like stable. We should not touch that. We should move something with more innovative to save this or to increase the production more, something like that.
Okay, thank you very much. That's a good answer. So sustainable is nothing but, as he said, we cannot do anything without using this Earth planet. We are exploiting it like anything. But at least what we can do is, can we use it to the minimum extent? That is question number 1. By using it to the minimum extent, can we make products that are reliable and that is of good quality? And obviously, yes, ensuring the resources available for the generations and generations and the generations to come in future. So how to do it, we will see. So Michelin claims itself as sustainable mobility company, not Michelin, but even all the certification body and other government agencies, they have certified. So we are the number 1 sustainable mobility in the company. We are number 1 in world in high performance tires for cars and trucks. So 184 million tires produced. There are 68 production facilities in 17 countries. And it is number 1 in world in radial tires for earth mover, aircraft, farm, and machineries. For example, we make the biggest earth mover tire, which is I think it's 69 inch. And there are 170 sales network covering we have sales network covering 170 countries. And we are number 1 in Europe in tires for motorcycle and scooters. And we are present almost everywhere in the globe. Okay. So what is tire, guys, according to you?
So
Yes.
tire is something which is used for the mobility transport, and it got different dimension and different types, tubeless, tube type, and with different dimension for different vehicle and its needs.
Okay, one is you said to move to mobility, to make
Sir.
it mobile. Yes.
Sir, which produce translation and rotation motion for the vehicle?
Sorry, can you repeat?
which produce translational and rotational.
Good. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I think we'll move on. Everyone is unmuted, I believe. No. Okay. So, yes, the main functions are.
Kirtivasan, sorry for the interruption, sir. Kirtivasan, you can unmute yourself and say, as our
I think-
guest is also very much
that is-
eagerly waiting.
Since I'm presenting, it's tough for me to go and look into the messages. So, right?
Yes. Kirtivasan,
A
yes,
tire
given-
makes the car move stable on the road, sir.
Okay.
It will provide grip.
Okay, grip is important. Good. So yes, so globally what you can say is transport or carry a vertical load, generate and transmit forces. So steer, acceleration and brake. So lateral or transversal movement helps in steering and longitudinal movement helps in acceleration and braking. So is function is equal to performance? No, it's not equal. So performance is a value criteria, whereas function is the basic function of the tire. So according to you, if someone can unmute and say, you would prefer, before that, has anyone commuted in a bullock cart? If yes, what do you feel? How do you feel compared to traveling maybe on a vehicle fitted with a pneumatic tire? You answer? Okay. There are two wheels. Initially, we had rigid wheels, like as I said, for example, in bullock carts we used to use in olden times, and there are multiple models as well. Lots of evolution happened, but obviously, right now it is pneumatic tire. So, do you prefer rigid wheel? No. Why? Because it is rigid, which means it doesn't absorb the shock. It transmits everything to the vehicle, right? So we do not prefer rigid wheel. And according to you, if someone can say, in a tire we fill air, right? So what is the load carried by the air inside the tire? Can someone guess? What is the percentage of load carried by the air inside the tire? Hello? It's a guess, man. You can say whatever you want.
Sir, maybe nitrogen and oxygen.
No. Are you with-
100%?
Okay. Who's that? Who said 100%?
Myself, HOD Geeta.
Oh, sorry.
I'm a student today.
Thank you, madam. That's pretty close. Huh? It's 95%, obviously, because we should give some credit to the tire as well. So, because we are tire manufacturers. So, let's say 95% of the load is being carried by the air. So, air pressure is very important, guys. Okay, so just to get a feel of how important a pneumatic tire is, let's say a tire is, there are two, rigid wheel is moving over an obstacle here, there's a bump, and a pneumatic tire is moving over an obstacle, okay? So it's going at, obstacle, the height is 15 millimeters, and the speed it is going at 20 kilometers per hour. So what is the load in fact here? So you see here, there are two graphs. The one on left is the rigid wheel, you see? The load on the vehicle is close to, let's say, 2000 kgs. Whereas when it goes over the obstacle, you see, there is a sudden hike of close to plus 5600 kgs. Whereas in the pneumatic tire, maximum it goes is 2240, which means just plus 240 kgs. So that's where the role of pneumatic tire comes into picture, which means there's an overload of 280% on a rigid wheel, whereas it's just 12%. So just for you guys to understand how important the pneumatic tire is. Because I think someone would have seen the wheel tire as well. So it's very difficult, in fact, to make a airless tire. It's very difficult because air is so critical. As I said, the 95% of the load has been taken by the air. So if you make an airless tire, you see what sort of properties should the material have, right? So it's very difficult. Okay, so what is a tire and overview? Fine, okay, that's the topic. And see, there are a variety of uses, starting from race cars, then earth mover, you have metros, you have camionette, you have buses, you have car moves in different road, you have SUVs going in all terrain, and you have normal cars going in normal roads and wet roads and dry roads, and aviation tires. So Michelin is #1 in aviation tires with respect to quality and sales. And you have two-wheeler, you have bicycle, you see multiple varieties. And do you think if you give same quality of tire for all the applications, will it be good? Obviously not, right? And you see, the application of tire is not as simple as we think. Huh? When we sell the tire, it can be used like this or it can be used like this. So we should predict. It's very difficult to design a tire, guys. So even if you become an entrepreneur tomorrow, you should be in a position to imagine in what sort of difficult environment or unimaginable environment your product can be put in use. Okay. So that's the reason I have put this, because it happens today. It happens today, especially in India. If you say the load should be 40 tons, they go for 50 tons, 55 tons. So it's very difficult. Okay. How to read a tire? So I think some of you know who have already worked on tires, but I think I'm pretty sure that others might not know. So you have a car or two-wheeler, so you will have a dimension like this. So there'll be 205. So 205 is nothing but the width, which is S, and it's not just the tread width, it is from end to end. This is called as equator because this is the outermost part. So from end to end is the width. Okay, it's 205 millimeters. The next is 55. 55 is the aspect ratio. So aspect ratio is nothing but, so this is width and this is height, right? From the bead to the top. So ratio of height by width will give you, this is 55 is 55%. So H by S is equal to 0.55. That's how you calculate the height of the tire. Then R16 is the internal diameter or the rim diameter. And 91 is the load index, which means that is the maximum load that you can carry on the vehicle because it is fitted with this particular tire. And you have speed index. So H, it denotes a particular speed. Here it's 210 kilometers per hour. So your vehicle should not go beyond 210 if you fit your vehicle with this particular tire. Okay. Right, so that's what I'm talking about tires, just an overview. So how to read the dimension and what is tire. I think that's enough, and that will serve the purpose. Now going to the sustainable development and role of tires. So sustainable mobility. So as we said, sustainable mobility, in fact, see, let's say Michelin is producing close to 190 million tires each year. Michelin is producing 190 million tires each year. And we have legitimate expectations of the customers, the society as a whole. Okay. And we as a company, our aim is to manufacture products that are sustainable at every stage of the life cycle. As someone said, yes, we use less amount of resource so that it exists for generations to come. But not only resources, guys. Not only, for example, resource doesn't mean just the raw material that you get. For example, latex. You take natural rubber and you make synthetic rubber. So natural rubber and synthetic rubber consumption, if you reduce by 12%, does it mean that you are sustainable? Yes, but is that enough? No, absolutely not. Each and every stage of life cycle, starting from raw materials, starting from even how do you transport? Let's say you're transporting raw material from 300 kilometers from your place. So how you're going to move the raw material? Are you going to bring it by truck? They're going to bring it by electric train, right? So it makes a huge difference, these two, right? In terms of carbon footprint. So even that has been considered, even the logistics is considered, and the distribution that, so almost raw material is 11.7%, tire distribution is less than 1%, and usage and impact emission plus tire, that's where the maximum emission happens. So that's where the maximum carbon footprint happens. Usage impact, emission plus the debris. And the scrap tire collection, obviously less than 1%, and end of life impact is 2%. So which means here 86% during the usage, which means how good your tire is, how robust your tire is, how good the rolling resistance of your tire is. So all these things, it doesn't only give good name to the company, it doesn't only give good drivability for the driver, but it impacts the environment in a huge way. So impact to the environment is also a sustainable development. For example, you produce lots of CO2s, NOx, etc., etc. Okay, you pollute the environment. Let's say that's what happened in China. For example, if you go to China, especially Shanghai, you should close your nose. Even in Shenyang nowadays, you should close your nose. Everyone goes with a mask. I'm not talking about COVID time. Even before that, it'd be fully polluted. Even in Delhi, just imagine, completely it's polluted, right? So they have stopped all four-wheel drives, and more than I think 1,600 cc vehicles are not allowed inside Delhi NCR. So emission is highly important, right? And the life of the tire, more the life, it is good for the environment. And rolling resistance, low the rolling resistance, it is better because low damage to the tire and more the life. So we'll see in detail all these things, right? And sustainable natural rubber. As I said, mission is working on preventing land grabbing, protect the biodiversity, water resources, improve yield as well. Obviously, yield is very important. Let's say if you use 10 kgs to make 10 kgs of rubber to make a tire, just an example. And next year, if you make it to 8 kgs per tire, the next year 7.8 kgs, 7.6 every year, or maybe once in 2 years, you go on reducing, which means you improve the yield, which means less input and more output. Even that is helpful for sustainable growth. And end of life tires, that is important. How do we manage? So today we recycle. Okay, the used tires, we take it and we recycle it. So and when I say we recycle, we scrub it and we use it in the mixing as well. So obviously we have different percentages, and we have studied, if you put, for example, 20% of scrub of raw materials, the used tires, what will be the impact on the material properties, right? So all these things we have studied, and we recycle the tires. So which means, once again, less harm to the environment. And when you recycle, what will happen? You will use less raw material as well. So in that way, you're using less resources, natural resources. Okay. And we have some targets, internal targets for CO2 reduction. You can see here, and that is being validated by, once again, all certified agencies. It's called a science-based target. So it has been validated by that particular organization. And we are planning to reduce. In fact, we are reducing the CO2 emissions, especially from the manufacturing plants, year over year. I think it will be written somewhere here. Transport decarbonization. I think we have already seen this, spoken about it. So energy. Sorry, just a minute. Yeah. So energy-related CO2 emissions, and we currently generate a quarter of energy-related CO2 emissions. 15 to 17% of all emission linked to human activity. So it will double by 2050. So that's what people say. So which means I'm talking about the transportation. All the vehicles which is used for transportation is emitting CO2 at 15 to 70% of all emissions in the in the planet Earth. Okay, which is done by all the human activities, and it will double in 2050. That's what people say. Now transition to electric vehicle. That is sort of the only solution that we have, and that is the best way to achieve long-term improvement in the air quality. As I said, in Delhi and China, not all parts of China, in certain parts of China. So we have this issue, air pollution. So obviously electric vehicles will help a lot. Just imagine, even for 3 weeks, not 3 weeks, 2 months, there are no transportation. See how good the environment is. And you have seen all the sorts of map they have displayed in internet. How the clouds are, how good you can see the stars from here. So it's good, right? So obviously, when you go for electric vehicles, less pollution. It is good for each and every one of us. And safe mobility. So you guys can think how safe mobility helps in sustainable growth, right? So what do you mean by safe mobility? So Michelin is fully committed to road accident prevention. We educate the government agencies, road safety agencies, and the policymakers. We educate and also we work with them to make the policies, in fact. And also we educate the end users, okay? So obviously with respect to driving and usage of tires and other parts. So how does it help in sustainability? Obviously, a customer who knows that purchasing a tire with low rolling resistance will impact less the environment. Yes, he will go for it, right? If he doesn't know about it, will he go for it? No. Obviously, you have two tires, one costs less and other costs more. And obviously the one which costs less have high rolling resistance and it impacts the environment, and as well as not directly impacting environment by the tire, but also more the rolling resistance, more the fuel consumption, which means more you consume fuel, more you pollute the environment, right? So without this knowledge, obviously people will not go for a better tire. So our company is in process of educating customers as well, so that customer is aware and he or she also be part of the sustainable growth of the planet Earth. Not only the company, we as a community. So, using tires until legal minimum tread depth. Okay. So everyone knows what is tread depth, right? So in a passenger car tire, for example, or even in truck tire, you have a tread wear indicator. So inside you have this grooves. Inside that groove, you will have a small bump. The height of that particular rubber bump is 1.6 millimeters. That means that when you use the tire, it gets worn out. When it goes close to that tread wear indicator, or when it touches the tread wear indicator, which means there is only 1.5, 1.6 millimeter from the edge or from the end of the groove, you should no more use the tire. You should change the tire, okay, for multiple reasons. Michelin said we'll save 400 million tires each year and prevent 35 million tons of CO2 emissions. Efficient transport, such as avoiding empty runs as well. So Michelin is involved. For example, we move tires from one place to other, and we ensure we bring something else from there, like maybe raw materials or something else, so that we try to avoid empty runs of the truck, so that you make use of that particular commute for your organization. You don't make it just for the purpose of one-way commuting, okay? And here, just an example for a rolling resistance. So bicycle, 2 to 5 kgs per ton, for example, and passenger car tires, 6 to 12 kgs per ton, and PL is nothing but truck and bus, it's 4 to 7 kgs per ton. And 85% of factories are powered by, in Europe, 85% of factories are powered by electricity from renewable resources. So someone pinpointed in the beginning, using renewable resources is what is sustainable development. Yes, it is true. So 85% of factories in Europe is using electricity from renewable resources. And obviously the plan is to bring it to all the plants throughout the world. Okay, a bit of technical. Even though in the beginning I said, guys, technical, you can find it anywhere. Yes, that is true. But obviously, we should talk something technical as well. So we'll talk a bit, not too much. So yes, we saw about sustainable mobility, and we used a word called rolling resistance. Guys, this is very important in a tire. The parameter is rolling resistance. So what decides the rolling resistance? The factor which decides the rolling resistance, number one factor, is the material composition. Just a minute, guys. The slide is not moving. Checking this.
Now the first level, the second level, okay.
Okay, now it's working. I think. So here I have put a figure, in fact, which talks about the importance of fundamental importance of tire performance is the rolling resistance. The key word in this is hysteresis. Okay, so what is hysteresis? Hysteresis is heat dissipation. Okay, if a rubber product dissipates the heat, what will happen? If the product absorbs the heat, what will happen? So can someone say, for example, a rubber material which it dissipates the heat? Okay, when I throw that rubber ball, let's say there is a rubber ball and the material is in such a way that it has got high hysteresis, which means it dissipates more heat. So what will happen to the ball when I put it from a height? Will it rebound or will it not rebound? Can someone say? In the meantime, Rahul Kumar has asked, it is difficult to make, then why Michelin makes? Michelin makes because we want to make difficult things easy. But when I say difficult, it is difficult to make it a normal tire for all the cars. So today the wheel tires is not for all high-end passenger cars. It is used in forklifts and all small vehicles. Okay. And trial process is going on. If we succeed, then it will go for the passenger cars as well. Okay. So in the meantime, guys, please answer. High hysteresis rubber ball, if you throw from the height, will it rebound or will it not rebound? Guess, man, I'm not going to scold you if you say wrong answer, or I'm not going to give 1,000 rupees if you give right answer. Will not rebounds. Okay, anyone else? You can unmute and talk, huh? Your HOD madam is putting this message quite often. Or unmute and say. Anyway, yes, you're right. So more the heat dissipation. So here, the figure already says that. So more heat dissipation, it doesn't bounce back. It stays in the ground. Whereas, if it absorbs the heat, it bounces back completely. But do we need this or do we need this? We need both, in fact. We need both the properties. We need viscosity plus elastic. So it is called as viscoelastic, right? So rolling resistance, heat, and grip. These are the fundamental tire performance. Tires need viscoelastic property. As I said, it needs both heat absorption and heat dissipation. Why? One, for example, heat absorption is required for low rolling resistance. If it absorbs heat, which means that the rolling resistance is less and less fuel consumption and good for the environment. But it will wear out. For example, a passenger car, I will give you with let's say heat absorbing compound, which means low hysteresis. Okay, low hysteresis compound. I'll give you a tire. If it gives 5,000 kilometers life, will you be okay with that? You spend 5,000 rupees on a passenger car tire, one single tire, then you get a life of 5,000 kilometers. You'll not be okay. If someone else gives you 1 lakh kilometers, you will go for it. So why we are not using low hysteresis compound only is because if you use it, you will get low rolling resistance, but You will not get life. So for life, you need high heat dissipation compounds. That's the reason we strike a balance between. We use both materials which has got high hysteresis and as well as low hysteresis. That's the reason I put we need a compound which is viscous.
Sorry, I have a doubt in this.
Yeah.
You say the low rolling resistance has to be taken care. Yes, of course, rolling resistance has to be low to save battery power. Since batteries are very heavy, then a bigger tire size could be a possible solution. But it increases the tire weight. But if the tire is lightweight, then obviously it will increase the cavity mass. The noise also has to be drastically reduced. Apart from saving the battery power. So how it is, both are very much controversial. In this, how the rolling resistance value is fixed.
Okay. So here, that's the reason I said, see, the impact on rolling resistance, as you said, by the diameter of the tire. Yes, it is there. There is impact, but it is not that significant as the compounding. That's the reason I said, let's say almost 40 to 50% of rolling resistance of a tire has been decided by the compounding. Compounding is very important. You go for a tire with right composition, it gives you gain of 40-50% of rolling resistance. So that's where Michelin is number one, in fact, because you would have heard like silica and silane we use in manufacturing process, so that the rolling resistance of the tire reduces. And obviously, more the diameter is good for rolling resistance, we all say. But more the more the diameter, obviously the cost is more, the material used is more, and the other parameters that still comfort, etc., etc. Then obviously the sidewall height. The sidewall height impacts the performance as well. More the sidewall height, more the flexion, then it impacts the high rolling resistance. So there are multiple things. So ideally, what I would say is, yes, there are other parameters we could look into, but if you really want to make a tire, because you see today, almost 80 to 90% of Tesla's tire needs has been fulfilled by Michelin, because no other competitor in the entire world is able to give a tire equivalent to Michelin's rolling resistance.
Yes, of course, it's true.
Yeah. So that's why, like for example, Bugatti Veyron, there is disturbance. Can you mute yourself, please?
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
So, for example, Bugatti Veyron and other big car companies.
1 minute.
90 to 95%.
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Only Michelin tires.
Sir, is it audible, sir?
Megashyam, it's too noisy over here. You just better change the place and raise your query.
Okay,
Now it's okay. Now it's okay. Come on to
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Yes. Let's start asking your query.
Actually, when you come to electrical vehicles,
The voice is not audible.
Very much noisy. Your area, I think, where you stand there is maybe very high noise. Better, can you give it in the chat box otherwise?
Yeah, I think that is better.
We will proceed, sir. Once we get this question, I will.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, and the rolling resistance, RR, it's called as, so tire of a tire is defined as the energy dissipated per unit distance. So rolling resistance force is FRR. So it is the rolling resistance is it is given in kgs per ton. Okay, so it is nothing but FRR by Z. So it is Z is nothing but the load. So here, for example, a CRR of 12 kgs per ton, which means the coefficient of rolling resistance. It means that to avoid losing speed because of rolling resistance, a vehicle weighing 1 ton, okay, the weight is 1 ton, has to overcome a force of around 120 newtons. So do you understand? So CRR is 12. So 12 into 1. So 1 is nothing but here Z of the tire is 1 ton. So 12 kg per ton into 1 ton will give you 12. And obviously that is in kg. So to get it in Newton, you multiply by 9 point odd. So into 10. So you get 120 newtons as rolling resistance force. Okay. So this is, it means that as if your vehicle is climbing a permanent 1.2% slope, which means if you need so much force, if the rolling resistance is so high, it gives a feel that you're always moving on a slope. Okay, that's the reason rolling resistance is very important. For example, if you have a rolling resistance of 4 to 5 kgs per ton, that would be fantastic. And main factors influencing the tire rolling resistance. Tire operating conditions like inflation pressure. Inflation pressure is key, guys. So under inflation is over deflection. If you just check your car two-wheeler tire, if you underinflate the tire, what will happen? It will deflect more. Okay, when the deflection is more, the rolling resistance is more. So here we have done a study. So 0.5 bar underinflation means 12% more rolling resistance, and 1 bar underinflation is 30% more rolling resistance, which is huge. So let's not think much about all other stuffs. Just controlling the air pressure, your rolling resistance can be reduced drastically. Outside temperature, so between 10 to 40 degrees, an increase of 10 degree corresponding to 6% reduction in rolling resistance. Okay. Tire operating temperature, a cold tire has 20 to 30% more rolling resistance than warm tire. And the type of the road on which the tire is rolling, a macro rough road surface may mean 40% more rolling resistance, which means a rough road surface will increase. For example, here we have done one study. We have done macro rough road and micro rough road. So in that, macro rough road gives 40% more rolling resistance compared to the micro rough road. And vehicle wheel alignment is more important. So toe in and toe out, etc. You can find it on the internet as well. So the alignment settings are very key, and camber as well. So toe in and toe out is nothing but from the top. I don't have the image here, but from the top view, if you see, the tires will be in V shape, which means front part of the tire will be inclined. Whereas the camber is nothing but from the front view, if you see, the tire will be inclined. So that is toe in and toe out and camber. And the load. The loading resistance is almost proportional to the load which is applied on the tire. And tire design and wear level, tire structure and materials have very important impact on the tire rolling resistance. As I said, structure and material, which means products like silica, carbon black, it impacts 50% of the rolling resistance. So forget about all these 5 all tukda percentage. It means nothing. Almost 50%. That's where Michelin has got edge over other competition. So we are mastering the materials, which means I can clearly say that we have 20 to 25% less rolling resistance than our competitors. It has been proved by all the approved agencies as well. And the tire size, as ma'am said, large outside diameter means lower resistance. An increase of 1 centimeter reduces the resistance by 1%. Okay, that's the study we have done. And we have got speed index as well. So due to the design constraints, high-speed tires have generally higher rolling resistance. So if VYW is nothing but the speed index, have on average 1 kg per ton higher rolling resistance than the low speed index tire. So generally, if you go for a high speed index tire, you will have more rolling resistance. Tire tread depth, a 50% increase in tread depth translates into 20% increase in rolling resistance. You can see, for example, competition in truck and bus, they have a tread depth of, let's say, 26 millimeter, 28 millimeter, whereas we hardly have 18 millimeters because it directly impacts the rolling resistance. Okay, so coming out of rolling resistance, now.
Sir, a minute.
Yes.
Shivam was trying to ask your fourth slide only, sir. When it comes to electric vehicles, they produce very high torque and it causes high rolling resistance. What can we do to reduce that? The same you have listed, the previous slide, you have listed various factors affecting the role of rolling resistance. But he is asking very specifically for the electric vehicles. seconds.
Okay.
Because they need more torque, very high
Correct.
torque.
Correct. So today, in fact, as I answered, 50% of rolling resistance is decided by the material properties. And why people like Tesla? You see, Tesla, 1 to 100 kilometers per hour, it goes in how many seconds? Maybe 3.5 seconds, let's say. So for that sort of application, why do they go for only Michelin tires, not other tires? Is the rolling resistance. So with respect to tire, yes, it is material properties which gives an edge over others. So material properties gives, let's say, 20-25% better rolling resistance. So that's the reason they go for Michelin tires. As you said, yes, a small percentage slip in the tire due to the torque can result in large percentage increase in rolling resistance. For example, even 5% slip, let's say, can translate into 200% increase in rolling resistance. So your question is 100% valid. It is because of the tractive force during the slip. Okay. And especially only during the slip you have higher rolling resistance, and then it becomes normal. And thus, much more power per unit velocity is being applied, obviously, right? So small increase in circumferential velocity due to slip can translate into loss of traction power as well, which may even exceed the power loss. So ideally, even you see, for example, for a high-end cars, you see the sidewall height is very low. We say the aspect ratio. See, aspect ratio is low. For example, you go and see a BMW, you will literally, you cannot make a difference between rim and the tire, because the edge of the rim and the tire and the tread will be very close. Hardly you will have 5 to 6 millimeters, which means the sidewall height is very low. Okay. Why do we have that? Once again, help in rolling resistance. So that will help in one way. Obviously, material properties and the sidewall height as well. And not only that, the materials that we use. For example, what happens when you give sudden torque? And especially at high speeds, when the tire tends to take the centrifugal force, and it tends to, for example, here you see a tire. Instead of being flat, what happens at high speed? It becomes U-shape. Okay. So that has been avoided by, we use a product called FAS, which is called as Infinicoil. So we put wires on the tire like 0 degrees. That's 0 degrees. Okay. It's 0 degrees. And it is high strength steel wires. I don't we have different grades. So we put that so that it doesn't take a U shape with the centrifugal force with high speed. So that also helps in lowering the rolling resistance. And obviously other things I added, air pressure, etc., it impacts. Okay. Does that answer the question?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. And coming to the sound, I think maybe I have one slide. We'll look at that later. Maybe here as well. Okay. So paradigm shift in business model. So while doing business, just a minute. Yeah. See, every human being in this world, they want to develop, guys. So they need development, right? Let it be you want to develop. You want to go to a company, work for a company, you want to get more salary. Or you want to start a business, you want to become a business magnate. Right? Everyone needs to develop. That's the key thing. So business led, obviously all the business is led by human beings, so even business needs to develop. So development can be achieved, in fact, I'll go to this and I'll come back. Okay. Development can be achieved by 2 ways, right? So you can achieve by conquer, you can achieve by embracing. Okay. So let's say like a war, you conquer and take the place. Will that be a sustainable one? Obviously, without people, you are making all products for whom? For people. Without people, your products will not sell, right? Whereas if you try to conquer, neither people nor the planet Earth will allow you to survive, because it will do anything and everything possible to make your life miserable. Whereas if you embrace, right? If you embrace the environment, embrace the entire atmosphere, including people, the environment, etc., they will work for you. They will give the fullest till the end of life. They will work for you so that you become successful. So embrace is the key for all the entrepreneurs, for the business models. So if you try to conquer, then obviously yes, no one will help. Whereas if you see, all just a minute, hold on. Yeah. So the more we create boundaries dissociating from the society, we look only for profit, and less we understand the purpose of the business. So we grow together. And the goal of business can be money. Okay. But the purpose of business is development through embracing the well-being of the people. So yes, without money, why I can say goal can be money? Because without money, you cannot sustain, right? So for example, you make a business, you don't get money. How will you get the raw materials? How will you pay your employees? You cannot. So money, yes, it is required. But that is not the primary thing. Because even if you get money and deplete the resources, you cannot continue your business, right? Or if you kill people by making products, you will not have people to buy your products. Fortunately, today the population is more. Yeah, even few people die, then it's okay. But still, if few people die, no one else will buy your product, and you will be stamped by people that you are not eligible to produce anything. They'll put you behind bars. So the only way is to understand the purpose of business is to embrace the well-being of the people. That is important. If you take care of the well-being of people, including everything, it includes the environment as well. Development of business happens by itself. Just satisfy the customers, your business development, not only customers, the environment, etc., etc. Your business development happens automatically. Okay. And any business addressing only the need of customer and money is a temporary success, which means you do not take care of resources, you will not have resources, so it's a temporary one. You should close the business. That's the reason you see throughout the world they say 65% of business which are started are closed within 4 to 5 years. 65%. Huh? Just imagine how huge it is. Whereas you see a company like Michelin, which is 130 years old, and still it is sustaining. So that's how we should look for. There are very less companies which are more than 100 years. You can count. So that's the reason I'm saying you should embrace, and your business should address the well-being of customers. So you guys, in future entrepreneurs might be there. So always keep this in mind. Your business should address the well-being of customers and the society. And obviously your business will grow automatically. So here, focus on the root, not the fruit. So you sow today, you fill it, you fill it with the mud and pour water. That's it. And fruit will automatically happen. If you look at the fruit, if you look at the tree, whether it gives fruit or not, or even if you don't look at the tree, whether it gives fruit or not, fruit will automatically happen. So that's what money will automatically come. Okay. So Michelin estimates over a course of 15 years compared to conventional tire on the road, 570 million Michelin green energy saving tires sold worldwide have reduced fuel consumption by an estimate of 9 billion liters. Okay, this is the calculation. This has been certified by government agencies as well, resulting in a reduction of CO2 emission by 22.7 million tons, the equivalent of the amount absorbed by 880 million trees in 1 year. You see the comparison? We reduce by 9 billion liters, the reduced fuel consumption, resulting in reduction of CO2 by 22.7 million tons, equivalent amount of the amount absorbed by 880 million trees in 1 year. So 880 million trees in 1 year absorb 22.7 million tons of CO2. So this is how, in fact, you can say advertisement as well, yes, but still we are saving the planet Earth. And when you start a business, just imagine, you should also look at things with this perspective that you can do a lot of things. You can do CSR. You can do CSR activities. You can help the local community. You can give, you can do free medical camp, etc., etc. But no one stops you to use that to advertise your product. For example, here you're making a product which helps the planet. Why not advertise? Because by advertising, you make the customer educated, and they go and buy your tires. So that's how you should evolve your business. So you can develop your business by advertising the good things that you do for the community and for the environment. And the introduction of energy saving tires has enabled vehicle to achieve average reduction of fuel consumption on 0.15 liters per 100 kilometers. That is huge. However, research in Michelin are confident that significant additional reduction can happen. In fact, we have drastically improved it in past 5 years, and will still improve in future days. Okay, so globally, how the business model is evolving. So, with respect to focus, the business model is evolving from internal focus, that is within the business, to all stakeholders. When I say all stakeholders, it is employees, the shareholders, the people in the surrounding, the planet, everything into consideration. And earlier we were concentrating on functional expertise, whereas it is shifting towards capability to integrate different perspectives. And earlier it is home country orientation. Now it is cross-cultural sensitivity. For example, you can see lots of Indian companies. See Tata has bought Jaguar Land Rover. You see how proud it was for all Indians. An Indian company going and buying a company like Jaguar, which is a sort of prestigious company in the entire world. It's a huge thing. So we are moving outside. We are procuring other companies, and we are also putting our plans in other countries. Yeah. So cross-cultural sensitivity and qualifications to achievements. So qualifications, guys, yes, it is needed it is entry ticket for you to enter. But even nowadays, there is not. Okay, it's a debatable question, but yes, it is entry ticket. But after that, it serves nothing, guys. What you need is passion towards the subject, and your personality defines everything. It decides your future, okay, and your skills, obviously. And we are moving from product to product plus process plus competency, okay, and individual contributors to team players. And we are moving from functional to total value chain. So which means, for example, we make tires and we sell. Okay, good. But while selling, we look at the logistics and we ensure there is less CO2 emission. But not only that, we ensure when we get raw material that has been transported from the supplier to us, even that value chain is also optimized. Okay, and it is efficient. So it is a complete chain is linked, and it is ensured that we improve the complete chain, not only our business, it is also the business of our suppliers and the dealers, etc., etc. And with respect to management, earlier we were concentrating on emphasis on quantitative skills. Now it is leadership and communication. As I said, yes, quantitative skills are required, but we have nowadays all tools. Let it be the Excel, let it be all statistical like MATLAB or whatever. You have other statistical tools. So you give data, it tells you yes, it is good or bad. So, okay, yes, you need some skills to read that. That is enough. So there is no more need for highly technical people who can manage the data. Okay, there are softwares, and that's what I said. Google can do better things than us. But what it cannot do is lead people. What it doesn't have is the leadership quality. What it doesn't have is the skills that human beings have. What it doesn't have is the empathy that we have. Okay, sympathy and empathy that we have. What it doesn't have is the communication. It cannot communicate. Yes, it can communicate, but it can communicate only the pre-programmed things. It cannot judge the situation. It cannot do the situation-based management, right? So that's where our role comes. And that is what you guys should work on to become great leaders for the future. Because let me be very frank. So let's say you have an interview with a company. Just look, if you have a technical interview, just 5 to 6 days before you go through all the technical stuffs, you can crack the interview. I will give it in return. It's damn easy. Because that is testing your memory power, right? Whereas if you have a HR interview, that's where your real picture comes. There are lots and lots of people who do very well in technical, but when it comes to HR interview, they do not do well in let it be in communication, let it be in aptitude, etc., etc. So that's what you should improve, guys. Communication is very important, and leadership quality. So just imagine whatever computer can do, you spend just 5 to 10% of your energy. Rest, computer is helping you, right? Take the help of it. The rest of your 90% of your energy should go on improving your skills. Okay. And management is also shifting from power from position levels, etc., to power from experience and skill base. So more you're experienced, More you have skill, you take a leadership position. Nowadays, you see lots and lots of young people, even at the age of 38, 39, they become CEOs, right? So that's where we should lead. That's where we should go, right? And not necessarily if you have experience of 40 years, which means at the age of 60 you become a CEO. Things are changing. Because if you get the same skill of a person who's at the age of 60, why not? You can become the CEO. There are lots of examples. Even I'm a classic example, guys. As I said, I was heading the product development. I was heading it at the age of 27, At the age of 27, that was starting from operator level and coming. And obviously, when I said starting from operator level, it was the career path designed for me. So I did not start my career as an operator, obviously, but my training was in such a way that they put me as an operator. Then I took the position. Okay? But still, at the age of 27, head of development is okay, is a good thing. So what I'm saying is the skill I had and not really the age mattered a lot. So that's the reason I was able to achieve that. So what you guys should concentrate is on that, okay? And earlier it was through numbers. Now it is deep understanding of business, economics, through technology perspective. So understanding the business. That's the reason we have spoken about the business models. And we are talking about the business model right now as well. And minimizing risk taking. Earlier, we say, okay, if there is a risk, don't take the risk and avoid mistakes. But right now, people are rewarding risk. Okay. What is the benefit? You take a risk, even if you do not succeed, you learn how not to do a thing, right? How not to repeat the mistake. So you do a thing, which means you make a mistake, you do not succeed, and you learn something that you should not do in future. That is very important. But obviously, you should not repeat the same mistake second time. An ability to work in a bureaucracy. That is before, and right now it is ability to work with greater autonomy. So you have decision-making skills. So right now people, they lack in decision-making skills. For example, someone gives you a leadership role and asks you to decide to purchase a product which costs 1.5 lakh rupees. You will think n number of times to do that, right? Because of different reasons. You will have a fear of maybe if I get the product and tomorrow if it doesn't work, what will happen? People will scold me, my boss will scold me, etc., etc. Things are changing nowadays. For example, I decide the salary for my team members. I decide what increment should I give to my team members. So to that extent, autonomy has come into picture, which means you should improve, enhance your skill and ability to take right decisions at right time. Obviously, that comes with experience, but if you stay until age of 50, 55 saying that it comes with experience, then you're not going to succeed. But you enhance your skills in such a way that even with 5 to 6 years of experience, you get to that level of decision making. That is key. And quality assurance to total quality management. And customer satisfaction to customer satisfaction and loyalty. Okay, that's where things are moving. And continuous improvement to process management and breakthrough planning. So what is breakthrough? There are 3 steps. One is, let's say today your pass percentage of the college is 95, just for an example. So you sustain 95 for every year, then that is sustenance. Whereas every year you grow by, let's say, 0.2, 0.5%, that is growing. So you grow by 1% next year, then you remain once again at 96, and then you grow by 1%. That is improvement. Whereas breakthrough is from 95 to 100 directly. That is breakthrough. And you sustain at that level continuously. So people are looking for breakthrough. Gone are the days saying that I'm sustaining the quality level. I'm at 100 ppm for past 10 years. No, why not at 10 ppm? Why not at 20 ppm? So we need breakthrough. And guarantee of quality of product and service was focused earlier, whereas right now it is business excellence. So if you put all these together, then obviously you will achieve business excellence. Okay, so that's done with the business model. Now, paradigm shift in skills. So, as I said, communication is key. Okay, I've given lots and lots of examples. Why communication is key? Because Other stuffs that we do, like what the importance that we gave for memory earlier, we have other equipments which does the job better than us, but they cannot do few things better than us, which one of which is communication. Why communication is key is, okay, obviously if you go for leadership position, you should communicate, and you should handle team members. You should handle maybe an entire plant or entire marketing or sales department, for example, or maybe like your HOD handling the entire department. So communication is key. Let's say if I go and address 100 people, if my communication is not good, then the entire process is a failure, right? So communication is key. How to improve? There are lots and lots and lots of ways. What I propose is just, yes, obviously improve the vocabulary, read newspapers, magazines, and practice. Practice makes the man perfect. Nothing else. Practice, practice, practice. Computer skills, obviously, it has become key skill. Without computers, there is nothing. Even in manufacturing, almost 30 to 40% of the job is done by computers. And even we, for example, my work, let's say 80% of my work is in computer, even though I'm a mechanical engineer, plus, okay, I've done MBA, but still. So computer skills is important. And adaptability and flexibility. So for adaptability, I've given this image. Why adaptability? You can no more be choosy. You can also say, I will work only with this person. He is my friend, I will work with him. He is my enemy, I will not work with him. That is gone. Let's say you go to a job. Your colleague is not gelling well with you. Can you say that, no, I don't want to work? People will kick you out. So adaptability, how to adapt to that situation, right? How to make him as your friend, or maybe not necessarily make him as your friend, but I would say you're a damn good person if you make your enemy as your friend. But you should adapt to that situation so that the result expected by the organization or the result expected by you as an entrepreneur is achieved. Even when you start business, you will have lots of people who do not listen to you, who will always be against you, who will always be negative. You should embrace everyone. You should transform them. That is when you can succeed in your business. If you eliminate, for example, if you throw someone who doesn't respect you or doesn't gel well with you, then you will be forced to send one person once in every month, because people will be like that. You should be adaptable, and flexibility. You should be flexible as well. Okay, according to the situation. You can say, "Are you asking me to be like a chameleon?" I would say, "Why not? If you're not harming anyone, then yes, you can be like a chameleon. But obviously, you should not harm anyone, and the result should be positive. Result as a team should be positive. Okay, the synergy should be there. Creativity and innovation. So once again, as I said, gone are the days when where we concentrated just to sustain the results. But now it is creativity and innovation to achieve breakthrough. We might be doing things in one particular fashion, but what people need is, as I said, even for sustainable development, you should work on reducing the amount of resource that you use for making one particular product, which means you need innovation, right? You need creativity. You're doing one job in one way, and you can give some innovative ideas to change it so that you make it more efficient. What is efficiency? The amount of resource that you use to make a product, right? If you reduce the amount of resources to make the same product, then you're more efficient. So how to become more efficient? You get more ideas. That is creativity and innovation. And emotional intelligence. Why emotional intelligence? That is key for all leaders. Once again, as I said, conquering and bossing over others, that will not work. It's gone are the days once again. Nowadays in corporate culture, bossing over, especially in MNC, since I'm working in MNC, and that's the reason it's very difficult for me if I go and join maybe a very old Indian company, because I have been brought up in such a way that I'm autonomous. I take decision, and I get respect. I give respect. So, giving importance to the emotions. Let it be an operator. Let it be, for example, a cleaner. Let it be whoever it is. Each and every, all are same. All people are same. All are human beings. So, giving respect to them and trying to have emotional intelligence, which is emotional quotient, is nothing but you fit into their shoes before talking something. You cannot harm anyone just like that, right? So that is very important when you go to the leadership position. And obviously, you should communicate what you must communicate. For example, if someone does something wrong, you cannot be goody saying that you have done something wrong. Try not to do later. Try not to do once again. For example, you can say that maybe for the first time. If it happens for second or third, you should tell in such a way that he transforms. Okay, but even for that, you should fit into his shoes and try to understand what is happening. So that quality is highly demanding, especially in current market, and it will be demanding throughout until this earth, until this planet Earth exists. So don't worry about it. This is key skill that everyone needs. And leadership skills that we have spoken, and decision making, we have spoken about that as well. And collaboration. So this is a very good drawing. See, today no one is individual contributor. For example, in Mission we are more than 110,000 employees, and no one is individual contributor. For example, even you guys in a classroom, you cannot be an individual contributor. Your friend supports you, your teacher supports you, or go against you. So everything is in a collaborative way. The same thing in a team, same thing in a company, same thing in a classroom, same thing everywhere. And even in your family, for example, each and every one in your family goes in different direction. The life will not move, right? So collaboration is key. And growth mindset. So a lot of people talk about positivity, think positive, etc., etc. Yeah, that is important. But obviously, when you are in depression, it is very difficult. But yeah, at least for me, I would rather say how to define how strong are you is how quick you come out of your depression. That is important. And when you have the growth mindset and what next mindset, you will easily come out of all depression. So that mindset is very important. And communication skill that I've already spoken about, and culture awareness. When I talk about culture awareness, especially when you work in MNC or when you start a business and go multinational, culture is very important. You cannot, for example, in Europe, they say bisou, which means they hug and they hug. In fact, even a boy and girl, they hug, but it doesn't happen everywhere, right? So you should understand the culture and try to get adapted. Okay, that is the culture awareness, because unless otherwise we don't understand the culture, but we go there and work, it is very difficult. They will not accept us, right? So it is very important to understand their culture, to immerse in their culture and appreciate their culture, and do not go against it. So knowledge. So knowledge, there are two ways. One is explicit, one is tacit, intuitive knowledge, and the know-how. See, for example, what is knowledge? You go and touch a fire, you get burnt. So you learn that if you touch a fire, you will get burnt. That is knowledge. Good. What is intelligence? Intelligence is next time when you see a fire, it strikes that, oh, already you have touched it, it burns. So fire burns, comes into your mind immediately. That is intelligence, right? What is this intuitive knowledge? I think you would have heard, for example, elders or even others, for example, when you say like, I'm going to do this, people will say, I think it might not work. Or maybe you say, for example, I'm going to go to a particular shop. Someone in your house might say, I think the shop might be closed right now. Okay, which means they do not have the information right away, but still their intuition says that the shop might be closed. And you go and look at the shop, yes, it would have been closed. So how to get into that? It's a vast subject, but still I'm talking about this because it is key, guys. For me, it has transformed my life like anything. Maybe we can talk in detail later, but here, since we don't have enough time, I'm putting this topic so that you can research on this. And by this, what I mean is give more importance to your own self. Okay, you as a human being, your mind and your intellect, your knowledge, try to give more importance and try to analyze how your body reacts whenever you talk. For example, you go and stand in the dais facing 100, 200 people. How do you feel? Do you shiver? How is your breath? Is it hot? What sort of feeling you get in your stomach? So just giving some examples. You just try to analyze. Okay, you understand it, and go to home and try to evaluate. Okay, try to think what is happening. Why did it happen? Okay, that is what I have put here. self-evaluation and evaluation by others. So before that, you immerse, practice, live it before entering the game. Guys, why I'm saying this is, if you want to start a business, for example, don't go and plunge into it immediately. For example, you want to start a hotel business. What I would propose is go and join in a hotel as a worker. Try to understand each and every process. Try to work there at least for 2 months. That will give you an insight of what is happening. Then you will get the knowledge, then you will get the intelligence, right? After getting that, you can easily win in your business. Most of the people, they start a business and they do not succeed because of this. They do not get enough exposure. They do not get that knowledge, including the intuitive knowledge, because when you start the business, after getting that particular experience, your intuition, whatever intuition says, it will work. Okay. And obviously your experience also matters, and whatever your knowledge and the intelligence says, it works as well. And you get that confidence. Whereas without that exposure, if you enter into a business, it is very difficult, right? So, as I said, even when you go and, for example, work in a hotel, each and every day, try to evaluate, what did I do today? What are the things that I should not do? What are the things I should do? Try to register it. Try to read it every time. Try to get registered in your mind. And then when you start your business, for sure you will be successful. No one can beat you guys. That's what is important. I think I'm done.
Yes, thank you.
I
Those
think
slides.
the last half was more like philosophical, but guys, I think, as I said, this is the most important than anything else in your life, because this has transformed my life again.
Even though it is deviated from the electric vehicle topic, but still those paradigm shift in business model, whether it is for the skills required, what an interpretation, sir. Really worth watching it. Really, I liked it very
And
much.
especially, and it is very important for you guys, because I felt so bad that I have learned all these things only at the age of 28, 29. I didn't have all these opportunities when I was in college. That's the reason I ensure that these things should reach you guys, which will be very helpful in your life.
I think it happens for everyone's lives. I think so.
Yeah.
But your stimulating and motivating words for our students really fantastic, sir. Especially these words, the passion towards interested freely, and the importance of the self-analysis, which we all, as a faculty, coming into the teachers' fraternity, usually say to the students. We also realize the importance of it. The passion towards interested freely, the real needed mantras for all of us, sir. Really, very, very much support. And now going on to the question answer session, sir, one boy Girish had asked how the tire size decides the fuel economy. How come the change in the tire size will damage the fuel economy? Is that true?
Okay. I think we have discussed that. So yes, it impacts the fuel efficiency because it is directly linked with the rolling resistance. So you can link the tire size with rolling resistance, and in turn the fuel economy. So more the rolling resistance, less the fuel efficiency.